Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land. Looks like we're going to be going live. This is noon Mountain Time. That's where I live, at 2 p.m. Eastern. As always, you can hit me up on the chat and that sort of stuff. That's where we're going today. We're going to go to this fire here, but I wanted to first give a shout out to the new subscribers: Yuri Cherny, Eon Jones, Bowlmaster 1986. Welcome aboard. Keenan Hearn. The Roll Steady Fire Training and Leadership Development. Hey, I hope you're using these. Hope you find them useful in your training and developing future leaders of the fire service. Thanks for being a subscriber. Big Yak SD, and a special shout out to MPD Firefighter 92. I know you were in one of the classes last week. Thanks for the great comments on the page here. I really enjoyed teaching last week and seeing everybody out there. Big shout out to Sacramento Fire, Oakland, Berkeley, and Palo Alto Fire Departments. Hosted the classes, reading smoke classes last week down in the Bay Area. 4 great days of training. And I really enjoyed the people and the weather, and even East Oakland's not that bad. So shout out to Oakland and all the rest of the Bay Area firefighters for making me feel welcome. This weekend, going to be in Akron, New York. So if you're in the Buffalo area, come see me there. Next week in Channelview, Texas. So there's a full list in the show notes if you want to catch me. This week we're going to give a shout out to York News and Events. They're from Newmark, Ontario, Canada, which is where this fire was. So shout out to our northern brothers and sisters up there doing the job, doing it well. And a little bit like last week, we're going to just take a look at this column to begin with, and notice it's whenever we're seeing post flashover fires, typically if they have pretty good access to ventilation, they're creating so much fuel. Remember, smoke is fuel, so the fuel column is significant, right? You're going to see large volumes of turbulent, thick black smoke. And as we saw, if you haven't seen it, but go back to last week's video, that changes, from incipient, and then it goes to that post flashover. When you see that column, that's fast rising, just really turbulent column, you have a post flashover fire that's got pretty good access to ventilation. And so that's not the case here just yet. So let's get this thing rolling, because we have quite a bit of video today. There's 8 or 9 minutes of video before the fire department shows up. And if you listen to this when you watch it, you can hear there's a lot of people. There are people out of the house and all that kind of good stuff. So that's great. And I think they actually get some help from the PD too before they show up here. But we're looking at this is not post flashover, right? So this is pretty thin. There's a little bit of turbulence down here low, but it really thins out fast. It doesn't have that rapid rising. It's going to get a little worse as we go around here. But one of the things that is coming up in the classes a lot, and you can see it's getting darker, right? The color's changing from sort of lighter, a little bit more black. And remember that all smoke, all fuel has about 100% humidity, right? So as it comes out, it condenses. But we're going to get a good look at the window itself. And whenever we're looking at these windows, one of the things we're trying to determine really pretty quickly is the window where the fire compartment is, right? That window, what can it tell us about the status of the door, right? Because we really trying to figure out whether that door is open or closed. And typically, if you have a bidirectional flow, you're going to see that there's no other access for the fire to get air or oxygen, right? So if the door is open to the rest of the unit, air is going to be coming in through the door and then out the window, because the window, right, the bottom of the window is higher than the bottom of the door, right? And so in this case, we're going to see is this fire really maintains a bidirectional flow basically the entire time. Right, so even though the color gets darker and more black, and the fire does get to the near flashover stages here, because it's a bidirectional flow and there's some occlusion in this window, the total amount of air it's getting is thereby limited, right? By definition, it's a vent limited fire. but also doesn't just grow and grow and grow and create those super thick columns of turbulent, thick black smoke. We can start to look at the other things. So that's what that window will tell us. If that window is bidirectional flow, you'll be almost assured a very high degree of probability that the compartment door is closed, right? If it's 100% exhaust, almost certainly the door is open, right? So this smoke is pretty thin. Look how quickly it thins out. It does have pretty good heat. It maintains its turbulence as it goes up, but still a pretty thin column overall, especially for a fire that's been burning as long as this one has, which we're into it a couple minutes right now, a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So you would think we'd be right on the edge of cranking this thing up. Okay, so what else is going on here? Okay, because it's always read the smoke, right? And that part of that process is to do an inventory of the attributes. 4 attributes: volume, velocity, density, color. And remember, velocity, density are the kings. Volume and color are the add-ons. But we could look at this window right here, and even if the fire compartment door here was open, this one is closed, right? There's nothing going on in here that we can indicate any heat. Now, is there some smoke in there? Certainly, right? It's coming in through the wall. It's getting pushed in maybe through the ceiling, even through the light fixture or the smoke detector. That sort of stuff could be coming through the electrical outlets in the wall in between. But this one and this one are definitely 2 different fire compartments, which we expect just from reading the building, right? Normally, right above the door, if you have this blank space, it's going to separate 2 rooms. This window gives me some pause. I'm not 100% sure. I think that it might be the same fire compartment, but I can't tell from these windows, which is something that's a vagary of video. In the real world, if you were doing your 360, or in this case, that would be tough, right? Doing a little bit of a 270, you'd be looking around and you'd probably be able to tell if those windows had soot, steam, if they were blackened. But we're getting a little bit of very low volume laminar smoke pushing out of the edges of the attic. Tells me this thing has not extended up into the attic just yet. But even as it grows, right, this column, because it's really getting all its ventilation right here and it's burning right here, this is mostly our thin black fast, a pretty well ventilated fire nearby, which we can see, right? It's really being, the total BTU production, the total amount of fuel being produced is low. And then because it's got so much air right here, it's mixing well. We have right temperature, right mix, keeping the volume low, even though the turbulence is high, right? It's rising much faster. It stays boiling further up in the air, but the density, right, is just really low, even though the turbulence is high, right? The volume and the density is pretty low because of that mix, that really nice mix of the 2, right? So, if we go back to tactically, when we look at these things, right, this is an A-side fire. It's in a compartment that's where we think the door is closed, and we have to set up out here anyway. So in my opinion, this would be a good opportunity to do a quick transitional. And I can see the green line's trying, right? The green line might be keeping it in check just a little bit, but I doubt it's having a lot of impact. But I do think it's a good candidate for a quick transition, get some quick water mapping with your straight stream or your smooth bore, right? And keep that stream nice and tight. Do all the stuff you're supposed to do when you're doing transitional. Get your water mapping done as quickly as possible, and then you should be able to zip right in. I would expect the conditions on floor 1 to be little or no smoke at all, right? Pretty quick transition upstairs, and if you have knocked it out, when you get up there, then you're going to be set to just give it one quick hit from the inside and then get started on those searches up there, right? And so it just stays in check this whole time, right? Because it's the door is closed, so the fire compartment is only getting the air right around here. And so as we look at these things, what we want to do that inventory, right? Read the volume, velocity, density, color, apply that to the box, whether that's the fire building or the fire compartment. And here we have both, right? We can think about the fire building. Is it extending to the attic? Is it in the rooms next door, right? In the fire compartment, we can look at, is the door open or closed? Where is it getting its access to air in order to support combustion, right? And the brothers and sisters here from Newmark, Ontario, they're going to get a handle on this thing in relatively short order. And a good job for them doing that. Remember, as always, inventory the attributes, apply those to the building, right? Read the smoke, read the building, and then figure out what you're going to do about it. Okay, so I've really been enjoying teaching live. Uh, uh, Other than the plane flights, right, which is just a necessary evil, it's the price of admission for being able to teach. I'm really looking forward to the trips to New York this week. I think that's going to be really fun. Channelview next week, and just on and on throughout the rest of the year. So if you want to see me, check out one of those dates that's in the show notes. If you want to book me for next year, I'm all booked out for 2021. And frankly, we're booking pretty fast in 22. So if you're thinking about having a reading smoke program, hit me up. All right, with that, for Reading Smoke and the Reading Smoke Nation, I'm Phil Jose, and thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next week. I'm out.